Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. SoothingFilly presents the GNU. This is my Terry Pratchett sort of related storytelling solo let's play, and we have been a little bit busy since you guys last saw us. There's been plans afoot. I have had a couple of my friends on the world with me, just helping to hash out some stuff. And I built this on a live stream. We started to put together some shops. Just to try to bring the square together a little bit, bring it to life just a smidge here. Now, the reason I'm bringing you in at this point, not only because it's pretty much time for me to get this next episode recorded, but I'm at a bit of a creative crossroads now. I'm trying to decide what to do next, and hopefully I will have decided by the end of this episode, but I thought I'd bring you in because not every decision is easy. Now, as you're aware, we are telling the story of the dragon of Ankh, Morpork, summoned here by the Secret Brotherhood and banished again. It's managed to find its way back. It's torched to the king, and it's now set itself up on the throne. And we want to do a little bit of physical storytelling here and what we build, because I would like this sort of square to represent this story just a little bit. The square, or the plaza of broken moons, is represented here by the moon fountain in the way it's mentioned in the books that there is a fountain here, or at least one fountain here. And we had the idea at the end of last episode to build the coronation scene. So what I'm picturing is sort of a raised dais sort of here with a makeshift throne on it that the king would come in a procession from along, and he would all be sort of brought up here, sat down, and then summarily crowned. I thought I might even build... Oh, hello. You can go away. Thank you. My aim with this thing is still working on it, but I'm loving the crossbow against the bow, I must admit. Anyway, I thought I might build like the coronation dais here and then have like the dragon. I thought I might build the dragon here in the square, and maybe some flame coming out and sort of showing that sort of dichotomy of the king and the dragon sort of facing each other down a little bit. I thought that could be quite cool, but I'm having trouble with scale. How big do I want to make this dragon? Because I can make like a dragon like, you know, this big, you know, like that. But that's too, you know, this is meant to be an almighty great flapping dragon thing. That's going to be far too small. And on the other hand, if I make a dragon that's massive, it'll kind of dwarf the whole area and it'll stand out too much, I think. So yeah, I'm trying to find a happy middle ground between where I think the dragon should, how big the dragon should be, and if we should even build a dragon here. There are other scenes we can build here to bring it to life. So yeah, the thoughts are there. Anyway, while I'm mulling over that, let me show you around what we've done. So this is something called the Pork Futures Warehouse. It's where pork is stored until it exists, which is a bit of an odd concept. The idea is that, of course, all pork exists, and until it sort of all pork is tradable, as it were. So this warehouse is used to store pork that doesn't quite exist yet. And it's very cold because of the fluctuations in time. I may go into this more in some of my other story and lore. For now, though, the idea is that this we're going to have like some pig carcasses on their way into existing. So they're going to start off as sort of ghostly pig carcasses along here, and then the idea is that as they become more real, they're going to become more realistic as we go from left to right along here. I'm still working on how that's going to be done. And what the pork is going to look like. Upstairs here, though, we've gone around the back and we've put in a storage system. This entire Pork Futures thing is just put here so that I can have somewhere to store all my gubbins. And I figure a warehouse is as good a place as any. You know, if you're going to build a storage system, it may as well be a warehouse at the same time. And the main warehouse that's mentioned in the books relating to Ankh Morpork is the Pork Futures one. So yeah, I've made the downstairs very much of an icy chiller place. And I'm going to be working on a good way to tell the story there. But that'll be, I think, for another episode further down the line. I've built a little row of shops here. They're empty at the moment because, as we previously mentioned on interiors, they're not my strong suit. But the idea again for these is again more storage. So this one, for example, we've got all like the flowery shops. We've got the flowery stuff here, flowers and trees. And this is going to be a flower shop. We're going to have like a little, probably a little shop counter in here, and there's going to be like a back of the shop, and out the back is where she's going to have like a little. I imagine it's going to be a female shopkeeper. She's going to have like a little garden here, where she keeps and grows many of her flowers that are for sale in the shop. And then there's going to be another entrance to the shop. This is going to be another street going along here. So you can sort of see where I'm going with that. And along here, there might be like a tannery or someone selling coal and stuff like that. Just somewhere for me to keep goods. So that the idea is that like the flowers and things aren't going to be in the storage system. They're going to be there. Things like coal and lapis and all of the non-blocky items. I want them all to have their own shops across the city. We may even develop shops like Stonemasons Guild and things like that for the stone keeping. This could end up being a very temporary storage system. The things will develop as we go on and as we sort of put the world together. So that's what this is all about. I need to do some decorations in here at the same time. But that's pretty much where we're at. We've got the square probably about half, maybe less than half built. Arthur the Last Ancient has come on. He's one of our supporters. He's been sort of donating to me on streams and things like that. So I've brought him into the world, and he's decided that his build he wants to put together is like a tavern type thing for some beds. So he's put this frame down here, and hopefully he'll get that finished. He'll sort of get back on here sometime soon, and we can work on this together. Get this tavern up and built. I'm quite excited for how that's going to look. I think it'd be next to the stables here. I keep calling it a farrier's. I'm pretty sure a farrier's is somewhere that you would shoe horses, and this is a livery, which is somewhere where you keep horses. I'm getting myself a bit confused with the terms. If you know them in chat, and if you know them, please do let me know in chat, in the comment section. I'm too used to streaming, I think. But I think the first thing to do, we've got together some red nether bricks. I've been looking at the colour palette that I have to play with here. I definitely think to build this dragon, I'm going to need stairs and slabs. Now we have our granite, which is what this is, which is a red colour, but I think that's probably going to be too pale. The only reference to colour of the dragon that I can find is on the book cover for the book that we're working on now, which is Guards. I'll try and display it on screen now, if I remember. And as you can see, hopefully, the dragon itself is a lively red colour, which is why I'm working with a red brick kind of look for it. At least initially. That may change. In this texture pack, I was going to use the nether brick that you sort of find in the sort of fortresses and things like that. But unfortunately, in this texture pack, it's black, which is not really the color of the dragon we're looking to go for. So, is that a? Oh, okay. Hello. Nice. All right. Happy days. Now, the problem I'm going to now have is that I actually can't go too near my house. We tried this last time, and oh, that's a good point. I have some sad news. I have some very, very sad news. So I did this last time. Last time we had one of these guys raid us, because we can't just leave them be, because they will come and shoot our villagers and stuff. And we have got villagers in there. But last time, this raid happened directly outside. Oh, I've just triggered it again. Last time this raid happened directly outside the house, the villagers came, and somehow both cats, the dog, and both of our villagers, Dot and all of our villagers upstairs died. Bizarrely, Flix didn't die, even though he was downstairs. Oh. This all happened live on stream, so I can't like pretend it didn't happen or anything like that. I was originally thinking I could just go outside and... Thank you. I was originally thinking I could maybe just go out and bring some more villagers into the house and sort of make up for it, but no, it happened on stream. So Minx is dead. Tom Pigeon is dead. Oh, there's another villager remaining. Another pillager. Oh, and it's getting nighttime. Where is he? Hello, friend. Aha, there he is. What are you hiding out there for? Cool. Yeah, so the goal, I love the fact that you can recollect these arrows up. Let's get this raid done. I'm not sure how much of this raid I'm going to show because it's pretty repetitive. I haven't set the permanent world difficulty to easy yet. There you go. So we still only get, I think, 3 waves of these pillagers. Come on, die. The raid was a defeat. How was the raid a defeat? I was killing everyone. Oh no. Did someone get past me? Oh no. Look, there's some arrows here. Shooting into the house. Oh, rubbish. Oh dear. What happened? Oh no. Alright, so that's twice now we've lost. This raid system is sucky. Have we got... Please tell me one of the... Oh no, you died as well. I can hear... Oh, good. Oh, thank goodness. Right, okay. So one of the villages that I sort of managed to get back... I didn't manage to get back. I went and got another one. Oh, good. So he's safe. Thank God. Last time I came up... You son of a... Right. That's how we lost. One of them got behind me. I need to start closing these doors. Well, rest in peace, Flicks. That is all. Last episode, all of the honourable mentions I gave for all of the Patreon rewards, they're all dead. I'm going to have to build a graveyard now. Oh, dearie me. Well, yeah, so that's... Cat has gone... No, we've lost 2 cats, a dog, and 3 villagers now because of that stupid raid system. I need to figure out how I'm going to work around this mechanic in this world because we can't just keep having our villagers die like that. Oh dear. Right. Enough of that noise. Let's get some sleep. Oh dear. Oh dear. It's havoc, I tell you. This new 1.14 update with the random pillagers and things like that is kicking my butt. And even creepers on the roof, look. He's probably not dead. Probably better go take care of him. I mean, I'm loving the new blocks, but the new pillagers are kicking my butt. Right, I'm going to go now. I think I'm going to try and start putting together... Oh. Yep. I'm going to go and start trying to put together some kind of dragon, I guess. Or at least I might build the plinth. At least the coronation should be built. I'm not set yet on whether or not we should build a dragon. But I think if I start to put together some kind of coronation sort of dais here, that would be a good idea. I might do the dais like somewhere here. And then have like rows of benches and things so that people can watch. That might be cool. I'm not sure. Let's get building. I feel like I'm feeling the urge to place some blocks. Let's get some blocks down and then come back and see what we look like, shall we? Right, so I have in mind that the procession... This is obviously going to be where the university is going to be. So I'm kind of explaining things to you from inside my head. So this is where the university is going to be, the university building. And I can imagine that a royal procession, if you're going to go from somewhere to somewhere to be crowned and then taken off to a third place, those somewheres could well be the University of Magic. It's meant to be very grand and sort of churchy without being a church. So you would go from there, the procession would come along the Cham, which would be a big, wide street, perfect for such a parade. And then you would end up somewhere like this in the plaza, because you'd want to be in the area that you sort of defeat the dragon. And then what you would do is you would then, after the procession, go off to the palace, which is going to be in that sort of direction. I feel that sort of geography and path plan would be appropriate for it. So let's make ourselves 2 of those, because I want there to be boop, 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 boop. I'm figuring the dice doesn't really need to be much bigger than this. But if we do this... Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. So let's put some diorite down. Like so. Oh, that's an interesting texture. So the double slab texture for diorite is not bricked. That's very interesting. Okay. Learn something new every day, Philly. You learn something new every day. Let's do this. And let's do this. Boop, 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 boop. Cool. All right. So now we have a platform. But we just need to build some... Ooh, can I... Please? Thank you. That's a weird glitch, isn't it? But I think it's somehow some kind of like centralized throne here. So we would build some kind of sort of... Well, that's spectacularly trapped to myself, isn't it? Right, let's do that. Excellent. I like that. And then if we did decide to have the dragon could be sort of built around their area. That would be, I think, a superb little scene. Let's get a throne in place. So I'm thinking for the throne... we've got... that's not enough. That's not enough. I'm thinking for the throne, like a slightly whiter brick. So how does diorite mix up to this? Yeah, awesome. So we'd have like a slightly whiter brick for the throne. So if we get some quartz together, we can sort of build something up there that's suitable. Right, so I managed to get a stack of quartz together. Now I've just got myself a fortune 2 pick. And we can see, I mean, it's only 14 2, which is a bit of a shame, but it's enough. I think that's enough. And I've just had an idea as well. On top of like a very white throne, I might try and decorate the plinth just a little bit with some purple banners. Purple has always been a very royal colour. In fact, I think in the UK at least, purple is the royal colour. You guys have to correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I figure some purple banners around the place, like dangling around the outside of it, like bannery style would be a good... I don't know. I'm not sold on the idea, but it could be a good one. Let me know. We'll have to see how that looks. I was going to say let me know what you think, but of course I think this episode... I'm just going to do it. So I guess you guys will have to let me know what you thought in the past tense. Alright, so if I put 2 slabs down like that, that will turn them into pure blocks. And then I can do this. Which I'm not sure if that's... I'm just going to kind of freehand this just a little bit. See if we can come up with something cool. Yeah, because I like the white on white textures of this. I'll have to get something to go on the back. There you go. That could be a cool throne thing. I think it definitely needs some colour in there. But I think we can do that with a well-placed banner. For sure. Maybe, yeah. I'm not entirely sure whether I want 2 or 1 there or what. Right, let's get ourselves a purple banner. In fact, I think I have a single purple dye, so I'm going to pick a very lucky sheep to become our purple wool donator. Let's have a look at the first one we see. You'll do nicely. Boop. Thank you. I'll take that. How many did we get? 1. All right. Well, get to eating, I guess. There comes a point in my life where I have to admit that sometimes I do get carried away just a little bit. So we went with red instead of purple because, yeah, purple just... I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't really kind of the right royal colour. It actually goes with this plinth rather nicely, but that's not the reason I've been getting carried away. I kind of started building a dragon. I quite like the shape. The scale is about where we want to. The head I have built and torn down and built and torn down like 1,000 times, maybe. Yeah, we're still getting there with the fine details on this thing, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with the wings. I have, maybe soul sand. I've resorted to looking at Pinterest for some inspiration. I say resorted. I actually do that all the time. I love Pinterest. For some inspiration of looking at some conceptual dragon designs for sort of dragon statues, sort of IRL and stuff, and I found a couple that sort of suit. So we're kind of working from some ideas from there. Yeah, absolutely. But I think the time is right. While I consider what this face should look like, to tell you the last section of this story, the conclusion. Because there is more than one type of dragon in the world. It's not just, this is Draco Nobilis, the noble dragon. These guys, as we mentioned before, kind of disappeared into an evolutionary niche, into another dimension, and were summoned back. But there are already a type of dragon existing in this world, but much, much smaller. These would be about 1 block high if, unfortunately, I had the time to build them. They're known as swamp dragons. Now, swamp dragons are a bit of an evolutionary sort of an evolutionary dead end, so to speak. They are widely regarded to be a chemical mess. The idea was that they sort of live in swamps, and hence the name swamp dragons, and they have the ability to eat pretty much whatever they like and distill flame-creating juices and gases and things from their surroundings, so plants and things like that. They're generally considered to be smaller, and they live in mortal fear of their own digestive system because it's very unstable. It's not easy to eat grass and be able to turn that into fire-breathing stuff. And so one misplaced hiccup, and their geography, they're known to explode. It's a survival trait for the species as a whole, obviously not from the perspective of the dragon that's now landed in pieces around the scenery, but the idea is that when word gets around that if you eat a swamp dragon, you'll get indigestion, with which the term blast radius will be appropriate. So, they don't make a good meal, is the overall thinking, I believe. These swamp dragons they've been sort of adopted into the city. People often actually hire them to sit on their shoulders while they attend fancy parties, the sort of which, unfortunately, SoothingFilly never gets invited to. And, they would sort of swan around with these sort of dragons on their shoulders and so on. There is actually a rescue, because of course there is. There's a rescue centre in the city for sick dragons called the Sunshine Sanctuary. That actually forms part of this story in the books. The main thing we're going to be focusing on today, though, is not the species as a whole, but one small dragon in particular. This small dragon goes by the name of Errol, and he is even more of a throwback than the other ones. He is more useless than the usual swamp dragon, in that he has tiny wings, he can't really fly, he's got big, round nostrils sort of thing, so he's not very aerodynamic, and generally considered that he's a bit of a dead end, bless him. But while this dragon, this Draco Nobilis, has been being brought back into the world and is blowing things up and setting things on fire, this little dragon Errol has been going absolutely booloo. It doesn't care if it's small. It wants a fight. It's game for this sort of thing. So it confronts him. The dragon, obviously, as we associated last time, the big one, the king now has associated himself. He's sort of insinuated himself, not associated himself. Use the correct language, Philly. He's insinuated himself in the palace and is basically on the regular, coming around, flaming parts of the city and generally being a bit of a nuisance. I nearly swore there. He's generally being a bit of a nuisance. So, yeah, the Errol eventually gets the idea. He figures out what he needs to do. And what Errol does is he starts eating and drinking everything flammable he can get his hands on. He starts gorging himself, I should say, on armor polish and lamp oil and coal and everything he can get hold of. He needs to create a lot of flame very, very quickly. And our king is actually now at the point where it's about to enjoy its first meal. His first meal is going to be a virgin tied to a rock. Actually, in this very square, we're not going to be... A lot of things happen in this square, which is why we're telling the story here. But while this virgin's been tied to this rock, this dragon's, sort of flapping above it, Errol decides now is the time to attack. Now, Errol becomes the first dragon in the Discworld to flame backwards. He's got tiny wings, so he's never going to be able to he's never going to be able to fly. But his nose, while being big, they make wonderful air intakes, so he becomes a jet engine, bringing in air from the front and expelling fire from the rear. And he shoots himself across the sky and challenges the dragon, basically, flying around in circles and generally being a contender. And our king flaps and sort of has a go at him and keeps sending out jets of flame to try and hit Errol, but Errol never manages it. Eventually, Errol seems to give up and sort of does an air flip and shoots off over the horizon. And our dragon is obviously very, very triumphant at this point, flapping it down, starts making its way back down in victory to enjoy its meal, when all of a sudden, Errol reappears on the horizon and travelling extremely fast like a rocket, Errol shoots across the city and wham, just misses the dragon. The shockwave coming after Errol. If any of you are familiar with the Matrix films, there's a scene where Neo's kind of flying through the air and the cars are bouncing along behind him. I'd like you to picture that scene hitting this dragon, and down and down and down. The dragon crashes. We will actually be building an area for later on, not unfortunately in this little mini series of stories. We will be recording the Dragon's Landing as the Dragon's Landing redevelopment site. It takes out a bunch of buildings. And that's pretty much where our story starts to end. The dragon is not dead, but it has been defeated. And I think I want to get the face on before we finally wrap up the conclusion of what happens to our Dragon King as it comes around from its attack from Errol. Let's get that face on, shall we? Oof. What do we think? We got ourselves some wings. We got ourselves a head. We got ourselves some dragon. The face... I think the face is the derpiest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. But I just can't make it better. I'm sorry, I can't make it better. Now, I tried some soul sand for the wings. I didn't like it. I tried some other stuff. I didn't like that. So this may change. We may come back to this at a later point. But I think for the purposes of my sanity, it's time to move on. I don't think... Let's go into spectator, shall we? No, that's spawn point. That is not... I cannot. I think it's been too long a day. Spectator mode. Like this. Huh? One dragon. One dragon. I think that looks quite cool. So, as a reward to myself, game mode survival, for finishing this, let's wrap up this story, shall we? So, Errol, as we just said, he came hurtling back through. He hit this dragon with a sound wave, and our dragon circles down. King of Morpork crash lands and takes out a bunch of buildings with him. As he's coming around and flapping back awake and things like that. So as our dragon is coming back around from landing and starting to flap awake, starts flaming and sort of getting up, Errol comes back, having slowed down, because he got to quite a speed, going past our king, so he comes back, slowing down, and now starts to behave a little oddly, starts to circle our dragon, and generally sort of protect it as he's waking up and getting up into the air. And the dragon doesn't kill him. Our dragon here starts to sort of make some more kidney noises and things like that, and sort of starts to flap around with Errol. And it sort of dawns on the people watching that actually, this is a female dragon. This was never a king, this was a queen. So Errol has beaten her in a fight and earned her respect. And I think together, the two of them, is never actually explained where they go and what they do. But I think our dragons go off into the sunset and generally find a life for themselves outside of the city and instead of the terrorizing things. Which I think the story, obviously, the book Guards sort of covers the story of Vimes and the Lady Sybil Rampkin who runs the Dragon Sanctuary and things like that. And that just about wraps up our first little mini-series stories things. This is how I'm going to be intending this Let's Play to play out. I kind of want these things to be telling little stories as we go. As we build this world, I want to tell them as we go. It'll either be one little story per episode or across 3 or 4 as it has been with this one. But that about wraps up the story of the Dragon of Morpork. For now, though, we're going to be moving on to the next story as of next episode. Before that, very exciting news. Very exciting news. I have officially got notified of our first Patreon. Has signed up via patreon.com. Name is on screen now. Carcass, my friend, thank you so much. You pop into my chats and support the channel regardless when I'm streaming, and now you've signed up to become our first Gimme 5 Patreon. Can I get some love and hype for the man, the legend himself? Thank you so much. I'm so excited. It's surreal, if I'm honest with you, getting a Patreon for the first time. I am beside myself. Thank you so much. It really, really means the world to me that you would sign up and help support. As promised, half of your monthly donation will be going towards the Alzheimer's thing. You will be checking your inbox sometime soon. You'll see some messages from me. Thank you so much, Carcass, for your donation. Along those lines, next story, you guys get to decide what we do. I'm going to give you two options. First of all, we can build the Patrician's Palace. That could be, because Carcass actually gets his own, as part of the deal, as part of his patronage, he gets his own building. The Patrician's Palace, the ruler of Ankh Morpork, could reside in a massive palace built in Carcass's honour as our first Patreon, if you wish. If you choose that route, if we go with the palace, then I will be bringing back the characters. I will be bringing back the cats, the dogs, renaming them, and putting them back in the house. If, however, you guys can choose option 2, Carcass doesn't need to have a palace, he can have a temple. We can go with the religion side of the Discworld, and I can explain the gods and how they all work. If you decide to, if the chat in general decides to go with the temple, we'll start building the Temple of Small Gods and the other religious beliefs. That will involve a graveyard. Instead of bringing back the characters, the dogs, the cats, and the people who supported our channel, we can give them their own dedicated graves and remember them in solace. What do you think, guys? Do we want to see a temple? Do we want to see a palace? You decide the next series of stories I tell. That's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching to the end. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you've liked what you've seen. Thank you so much again to our very first patronage. And until next time, I guess I will see you all in the next episode.